My name is Jackie Murray, and I will be your guide through these 32 lessons of your fourth grade technology curriculum from Structured Learning. This is lesson 1, so I'm going to take a little bit of time to go through the introductory material, but after this I won't do that because I don't want these to take too long. I'd like to think 5 or 10 minutes unless we get to a lesson that requires showing how to use a program sort of thing. But otherwise, I want them to be quick enough you can watch them without devoting a whole Sunday or whatever to them. So I won't always be the one doing it, but it will be one of our curriculum specialists and or one of our master teachers who's familiar with the curriculum. So you'll always get someone who knows how to use it. You'll find these. Let me bring up our wiki, and you probably know this, but it's on our wiki under this tab, 4th grade, and then you'll find it under this group at the top. You'll be able to click that arrow and it'll show you the whole list. Right now there's only one. By the time you see it, there'll be 2, but eventually you'll see the whole list like we have down here with the 5th grade. If you click this, 5th edition rather, you'll see all of them there listed. So you'll just go to the lesson you're on and you'll get started with that video. This is the 5th edition if you're still using that. This is the 6th edition. Another piece here is the office hours. So if you do have questions, something just doesn't make sense for you, or you have a particular unique situation, sign up for the office hours. They're Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. They'll start this month in August. And you have to fill this in saying you're going to be here, because if no one says they're showing up, we probably won't show up. So if you definitely know you need help with something, just fill this form out, just click it. Will you be attending off 20? Yep, I will, and then submit. And that will take care of it. And then one of us will be there to help you. Okay, so you might have the teacher manual or you might have the student workbook. You might have both. And this obviously talks to the student. It is optional, and it is put out to each student on their 26 devices in your tech lab, or if you have a one-to-one school, then it's on their digital devices. It's red, and this one's black. So this is the teacher manual. This one you are more than welcome to print pages out of, to show it on your class screen. You just can't reprint the whole book because it's a single user license. So let me quickly go through the beginning part of this. So if I go too fast in this, just add a question to the discussion board on the wiki, or show up at the office hours. Programs that will be used, these are good to know. It's not a wide variety because this is a tech curriculum for 4th grade, so we're not talking about really complicated programs. Web Tools covers a gamut of programs, though, so don't be surprised when Web Tools ends up to be a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see, this is the parts of the lesson. Tons of things, and if you've used the curriculum before, this all looks okay, good, that makes sense. I know how to use all this. If you're brand new to this could look daunting because there are so many parts. Vocabulary, problem solving, essential question, big idea, assessment strategies. They're all right here in half a page. But within 4 or 5 lessons, this will all make sense to you if it doesn't right now. Skills is really good because it tells you what to expect from the students, skills they learned in their first 4 years, K through 3, and then new skills that you're introducing in this one, so you take a little more time with those. Standards that are being addressed if you're doing a lesson plan for admin or something you have to submit to your principal, this will give you really good ideas of what to include there that you're covering. Prep here, time required, usually it's 45 minutes. Some it's a little different. Curriculum, and then at the end you have your exit ticket. There's not always an exit ticket, but a lot of times there is. Things students can do in 3 to 5 minutes as they leave class, and then how you can differentiate for different types of learners. The curriculum map, there's 2 different ones. This is for the K through 8 curriculum, so it has the major topics, and it shows how they're broken out through the 9 years. So you can see mouse skills, you learn them K1, and you really don't talk about them anymore. And you can see problem presentation skills, that's slideshows. You have 3 years, and then sixth grade, fourth grade, you have them, but then you don't in fifth grade and you don't in seventh or eighth. So you can see the differences. It makes it very visual. Here is broken down by the months in the fourth grade curriculum. So you can see where you start with blogs. Doesn't mean you won't use blogs in these years, in these months, but this is where they're introduced and discussed. Same with class management tools and coding and programming. You introduce them, there's an hour of code lesson, but you really don't go into coding any more than that. But then when you get to something like communication, you go back to that a lot during the curriculum. Critical thinking, digital citizenship, you go back to a lot. Keyboarding, every single month you're talking about keyboarding and problem solving. So you can see the differences there, vocabulary. So you can see the differences in how that's addressed. These are good to print out and put on the wall in your classroom so everyone, parents and administrators, can see. That makes them your partners in what's getting done. They know exactly what you're doing. So I'll kind of zip through this introductory material. This is a great page, by the way, vocabulary. If there's a word you don't understand, go to our wiki and go to the vocabulary page. And there are all the words from the 9 years. Now, I say all the words, but I think there are a few that are skipped because they're so close to something else. So if you find one that is skipped, either look it up in one of these dictionaries or go to the discussion board and ask, what happened to that word? I thought everything was in there. So ask that question there. That would be fine, and we'll help you with that. You can even show up at office hours and say, what's this word mean? And we'll discuss it there, whatever works for you. Here's our fourth grade under the wiki, by the way. So you can find that. Okay. Now, I'll skip through that. These icons are included throughout the book. This means there's a video on that page. This means the students are going to collaborate doing something if you see this symbol. This is where you'll find an article that will give you more depth on the pedagogy discussed in the lesson, help you out with that. Posters for your classroom, and then this is where students who have the workbooks will have a chance to annotate something in that workbook. So if you have workbooks, this is a great symbol to look for. PDFs can be used on any digital device, so just know that if you have problems with any of yours, your IT folks should be able to load it without any problem because it's a PDF. Typical lesson, let's see, here's the table of contents, articles, linked articles, posters, is that link there. They're at the back of the book. Table of images, lots of them, and then we have table of assessments, lots of assessments by fourth grade. And then the scope and sequence, here's fourth grade. Now, if this is your first year using the curriculum, it's very likely that you won't be at mastered on some of these because you haven't introduced them before. So feel free to adjust these as you need. No, anytime this fourth grade is in the middle of a stream like that, you may not be to that level. And there aren't too many. There's an introduced one. So this one is introduced, and it's use multimedia to aid comprehension, Common Core standards. So that one is brand new, but the others you may have to either scaffold or just consider you're starting at anew and then just change it. Just use your annotation tool and mark it the way it is actually. So I'm going to zip through the rest of this. Very comprehensive. Okay, here you are in the lesson. It's an introduction. So we're not really trying to teach anything new. We're trying to introduce students to what fourth grade technology is going to be. They have a couple of new skills, lots of scaffolded skills. So remind them, they do know how to problem solve. They know how to log in. They know how to be good digital citizens. They know about hardware and mouse skills. They know all that stuff. Problem solving, they know a lot of these problems too. Double click doesn't work, what do they do? So yeah, they should know these. So you'll look at that and go, okay, they haven't learned that one before. So then you can teach it, but yeah, they have learned that. Then expect them to know it.
You want them to get used to the idea of transferring knowledge from prior years to this one, to this year. Not that you don't start over from scratch. Here's your assessment strategies that you can use. You'll find these ones left room as student founded, higher order thinking, habits of mind are the same on every lesson. So feel very comfortable assessing them based on the fact that they left their station neat and orderly. They didn't leave it with funny stuff and the icons on the desktop messed up, that they used their synthesis and evaluation skills, that they were problem solvers, critical thinkers. It followed, or if you have depth of knowledge, you replace habits of mind with depth of knowledge or higher order thinking. Whatever that group is that you use, that's expected in every single lesson. Central question, how do I use technology? It's very simple. It's not a complicated question. And they've had this same question every single year, so they should have no problem addressing that and understanding. I do know how. Students develop an awareness of technology and how it enhances education goals. Your teacher prep is always, you'll find that we expect you to talk to other teachers in your grade level team, so you blend your teaching in with theirs, whether you're the grade level teacher or the PE teacher or whatever you are teaching technology or using technology. You want it to be part of everything students do. Make sure your posters are on the wall, test all the equipment, but if something doesn't work, don't worry too much about it. Just be aware of it, because students should be able to solve it themselves. Now, if the computer won't turn on, that's different. Unless it's not plugged in, that's something they should get. But if the power supply doesn't work, that's a whole different thing. Okay, of course it is. Ensure all required links are there. Okay. Collect words students don't. Yeah, this is a good one. As you're talking, collect the words that students don't understand, because you're going to have Speak Like a Geek coming up this year. So pay attention to that. When you use a word and they don't get it, whether it's embed or portrait, or even if it's a word they didn't know, write it down, because you're going to use it for this upcoming Speak Like a Geek presentation. You've got, I think, a couple months of collecting words for that one. Okay, so you're going to discuss what it means to be a digital citizen in a 21st century tech-infused lesson plan. You have a nice article to explain that more to you. You're going to ask students what they use for technology. So they can, if they have their student workbook, they can write it right here in the margin, as can you. Or you can put this right up, and you could put it right up on your screen exactly like this, and then use your annotation tool to make notes right in here. Or you can draw a picture on your class screen and fill it in that way. Whatever works for you, as long as you're taking note of what they see as a digital student, just to get them started thinking about what that means. Now, this probably, social media, probably, I don't think they're there yet. Maybe Skype, though. Maybe YouTube. Hard to say. Tour the classroom, but you don't have to get up and walk around. What you want them to do is see what's on the walls, know that every part of this classroom is theirs, know that it's interactive, know that a lot of their questions can be solved by different things they'll see around the classroom. And if they're printing, if they're scanning, whatever they're doing, they'll find those pieces in your classroom. So that's what you want them to get out of the classroom, that they take ownership of it. You're going to make a list of the lab rules to share with them. This will come from them. They've had 5 years of lab rules. So have them think about what worked in the past for them in class and what they would like to see used in this class. Feel free to prod them, though, because some of these rules you definitely want included. No food or drink. You want that on the list, so remind them sometimes. What do you think of eating at your computer? What do you think of people who ate there and then left their crumbs all over the keyboard? So respect the work of others. Save early, save often. Some of these you want on the list. The rest, you want the students to come up with themselves. So you write it in the margin, they'll write it in the margin of their student workbook, and then you print it out and put it on the wall. Now you have the lab rules or the class tech rules
that everyone agreed to. And this is a good chance when you're talking about these rules to follow class discussion guidelines in Common Core, listening to others, taking turns while speaking, whatever else you want to remind them of. Okay, homework is in, oh, I shouldn't have skipped over this. You might have a keyboarding class club at the end of school. Great idea. You might have an after-school help club at the end of the class day. So two great ideas. You decide if it works for your situation. If students don't have the opportunity to use digital devices at home, a keyboarding club is a great idea because then they get their homework done there. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be 20 minutes, it can be half an hour. And the same, cover it also with after help. So you've got a half an hour while keyboarding club is going on to come in and ask questions. Now, this isn't you helping though. You'll want to have interested students agree to be part of the after school help group, that they'll be available for questions with students. Homework is all in the back of the book, your teacher manual and their student workbook. Month 1, 2, and 3, it's the keyboarding rows. The rest of the month, it's practicing rows. By 4th grade, you're starting to talk about touch typing, so you might have them cover their hands. Up to you. Evidence board. They're going to, once a month or so, you put a bulletin board on your wall, and once a month, they tell you how they use technology outside of class, that they transferred the knowledge you've shared about technology and used it outside of class. So this is, and assuming maybe they helped someone find an address on Google Maps, maybe they helped a classmate use Haiku Deck for a slideshow. They fill this form out, have little paper copies of this. I have an envelope full of them in this space between the grade levels. They just take one out, they fill it out, they give it to you or paste it on the wall or assign that to a student to do, that they once a week they paste all those. Eventually they go down this off this poster and they go up and around the classroom and around the back of the classroom and up the other side and then come back here. So you've got the whole class covered with all these examples of students using their tech skills. Very effective. Review computer parts. They know this stuff. They've been doing this since kindergarten, so they know this. Now, this is a traditional computer. This is your iPad. You have in the assessments, you have other Chromebook, you have other options that the students can use. So you decide which is your digital device and expect the students to know this parts. Now, this one, you might not have to have them know all of these, but maybe you'll say you have to know 6 or 10. 3, 6, 9, 12. There are 12 parts, so maybe you'll say you have to know 8 of these, whatever you decide. But they have to, some of them are a lot, and maybe you'll want them to have them all. Okay, and then sitting at the computer, once they sit down, you expect them. They've gone over this every year. They know how to sit correctly at the computer. They know how to hold the mouse. These are in their workbooks also. So they're getting reminded in their workbooks, if they're using them, if you use those, of how to sit and how to hold the mouse. Keep track one way or another of username and passwords. If they have their student workbooks, they can actually fill this right in with that and add whatever this name is, IXL or whatever you're using, whatever program they use, Khan Academy, and put that there instead of additional, and then username and password. They can fill it in right here or a different way, whatever way you do to help them keep track of their usernames and passwords. Okay, then class exit ticket, have post-its for them so that they can stick on. You'll have a board, a problem-solving board, and the students will put a problem on that problem-solving board of a tech problem they faced during the week. And you can use this for the upcoming problem-solving board, which is coming up pretty quick. So you want these up there. You want their idea of what was a problem. They don't have to put the solution, but they have to put a problem. And I, you decide, but I, I might want to say you can't put the same problem as someone else had, because otherwise too often they say, oh yeah, I had that problem too. So, but you decide. Then here's differentiation suggestions. Then here's your parts. This will be used for the assessment next week. And you'll want to go over these to make sure students know them or not. You decide. And then your articles. All right, now if you're using the student workbooks, let me zip through this because I'm already way over time I wanted to do. This breaks theirs down. Their starting page is a little different, but it has the basics of what you have. This is their to-do list. This is their essential question. This is their skills. Very important stuff. Okay, and I'll zip through those. Pretty much the same thing as we talked about, table of contents. And here's their lessons. You can see it's very similar. Same idea as what you had out here. They'll get a chance to write right in here what they, using their annotation tool right here, what they think is a digital student. Examples of the posters, so they have them right in front of them. Lab rules, they'll write right on their student workbook what they think additional lab rules will be. How to sit, example of their homework. Example of how to sit and how to hold the mouse. This is where they can keep track of username and passwords. If you choose to do it there, you might have a different way of doing it. This is, if you want to, you can have them annotate this as you go over it with them, or you can have them fill this in. During the next class, they fill this in and then share it back to you as their quiz. Something like this, I'd probably say fill in 5 or 10 of these. There's way too many spots on that one. And this one you might do 5 or 10. You decide. Okay, that's it. All right, guys. I will be faster in the future because I won't have all that startup stuff, and you're going to start getting used to what you find in each lesson. All right. I look forward to talking to you either at our office hours or on the discussion board, and have a great week. Bye.